Hello class, we will discuss today a few topics of networking which will come in a very discrete way. Okay, it's not a very continuation kind of a thing. The way it is given in the syllabus I have just picked up like that. The first topic that they have is intranet. Okay, so what is intranet? Intranet is basically a kind of a private network, you can say, a network which is restricted to a particular organization. So basically, if we think of the networking that we have in a school building, for example, in a smaller lab we have, in the bigger lab we have, in the ground floor we have a networking. These LANs, basically, if we consider, they can be a good example of extranet, because this networking is accessible to only to the people of HIRS, right? Now here the question might come that are we talking about that every LAN will be extranet? Yes, every LAN will be extranet, there is no doubt about it. As long as the LAN is accessible only by a particular organization. Okay, as long as you make it private, it is extranet. But when we are talking about LAN, that means, are we saying that extranet has to be a LAN? No, that is not necessary. What I mean to say, that imagine there is a city, right? In a city there is an organization which has 4 branches. A bank maybe. A bank has opened 4 branches, right? In the same city, right? And they have their LAN, individual LAN here, individual LAN here, individual LAN in all 4 branches. Now, if these 4 branches are connected by using wide area network, okay, wide area network means it can be connected via internet, it can be connected via optical fiber cable, whichever way it is, say they are connected internally, and they are only sharing data amongst them. Outside world is not able to do that. So in that case, this also can be an example of intranet. So what I mean to say that intranet not necessarily to be always a LAN, but yes, all LANs are intranet that way. Okay. So that is what we have to know. Second thing that we have to understand here is extranet. What is extranet? Extranet is basically a part of intranet which is exposed to the outer world in a very simple way. A part of intranet which is exposed to the outer world. That means I have, imagine in HIRS we have a private network, okay? Say the entire school building is in a kind of network, okay? So it is an extranet, it's an intranet because it's a private network. Now what we thought that a part of this networking, where we have a proper server, and the server we have basically information of all the HIRS activities going on, how they went, who won, and all this detailing we have. Now this part, that our regular activities and various other campus news, that basically we are exposing to the outer world. So we have given access to a parent or anybody from outside to view only that part of our networking. That means from our server he is only able to fetch the information related to our various activities and what is going on in the campus. He cannot access anything else. In that case, it will be an example of extranet. The part of the network which will be accessible by the people from outside, that will be called an extranet. Mainly extranet is always, when the case study based question comes, just follow up these like the catch lines very carefully. It will be some business oriented. Extranet is always motivated by a particular business, okay? A big organization, business house. The business house always will have some associate business with this. Say if you take the example of Tata Motors. Tata Motors are specialized in making bus, vehicles, cars, etc., etc. But they may not be specialized in making tires or say the lights and other things. So what they do for lighting, they just invoke, they call a very renowned vendor like Philips. For tires, to supply the tires, they call MRF, fine? So these are the associate business. Now say Tata Motors have their private network. Okay, they have a proper private network which is accessible to the employees of the Tata Motors only and the managers. Now what they can do is they can expose this part of the network partially to its associate business houses. Okay, like the Philips and the MRF in our example which I was talking about. What they can do is they can follow up the business of Tata Motors by exposing that, because of that exposing of the part of network, they can follow up how Tata Motors are doing, and accordingly they can devise their business plans, their production. If Tata Motors progress, their business increases, so normally the MRF and Philips also will have to increase their production, right? So that way, if a part of the basically the private network or extranet, if it is exposed, basically intranet, sorry, not extranet, a part of intranet or part of private network, if exposed to the business for the business purpose to the outer world, then that can be called an extranet. Fine. And finally, the most interesting thing which comes here